How would you choose a cask to bottle for the world's most exciting Whisky Society? Would you go for the oldest and rarest? Perhaps you'd follow the flavour, choosing the spirit with the broadest appeal or the most complexity. Maybe you'd pick a cask from your favourite region. For over 40 years, the Scotch Malt Whisky Society has invited curious palates to explore whisky in its purest form, straight from the cask, unfiltered, undiluted, and unforgettable. The Society has grown into a global fellowship of flavour explorers, bottling one-off whiskies each chosen, tasted, and named by a dedicated panel of experts. Now, for the first time, the world's preeminent Whisky Society is joining forces with the world's most respected whisky title, Whisky Magazine, to bottle 3 exceptional casks. Join me, Christopher Coates, as I head to the vaults in Edinburgh's Port of Leith to uncover the story of the Scotch Malt Whisky Society, choose 3 Society casks to bottle, and reveal how you can taste these special collaborative drams for yourself. I've just arrived at the vaults, the Scotch Malt Whisky Society's spiritual home. This members' room holds a special place in my heart for a few reasons, not least because I've lived close by, right here in Leith, for more than a decade. This is one of the places where my own whisky journey began. I spent a good chunk of my formative whisky tasting years right here, exploring flavour with friends, asking questions of the bar team and other members, and learning more than I ever realised at the time. The Society was formed with a simple but, at the time, radical idea at its heart: to let people experience whisky in its purest form. No chill filtering, no dilution, just character, strength, and flavour, and an experience of the spirit exactly as it comes, straight from the cask. And importantly, it was decided that SMWS would never disclose distillery names on the label, ensuring that preconceptions would never cloud its members' views of what's in the bottle. While all of this seems very familiar now, at the time, this kind of approach was pretty much unheard of. Over 40 years later, that idea has grown into a global community of more than 40,000 flavour explorers. And while the Society's historic home is right here in Edinburgh, its whiskies are poured and enjoyed by members in every corner of the world. Today, being a member is actually less about living in proximity to a Society venue and more about knowing you're part of a truly global whisky community of like-minded enthusiasts. That, and of course, getting access to the famously varied and incredibly high-quality bottlings the Society releases on each of its outturns, drawn from more than 150 distilleries to date and matured in all manner of casks. Whether a single cask or extra matured, SMWS's bottlings can be delicate, punchy, or defy all expectations. But every single one has a story to tell. And now, having the chance to come here to the vaults and select a series of casks on behalf of Whisky Magazine, that's a real privilege. Though I won't lie, I'm feeling a little bit of pressure too. Whisky Magazine and the Scotch Malt Whisky Society have, in many ways, grown up together as the industry developed throughout the 2000s. But as far as I know, this is the first time they've ever collaborated, so we knew we wanted to give our audience something really special. For £100, you'll receive a full year of Society membership, plus a bottle of whisky drawn from one of 3 exceptional casks that we'll be tasting and selecting today. You'll also get access to exclusive cask releases, members events, the Society's brilliant Unfiltered magazine, and all 4 UK members' rooms in London, Edinburgh, and Glasgow. And finally, we'll also give you a 12-month digital subscription to Whisky Magazine. Hopefully that sounds good. The sales pitch is over, I promise. It's time to choose the whiskies, and for that, I'm going to need a little help. Let's go. Calum, thanks very much for having me here today.
Pleasure to be here.
I am very excited to get tasting these whiskies. So can you tell me a little bit about how does the Society pick the casks that it bottles for its outturns?
First of all, we've got our whisky team who keep a close eye on everything that's happening in the warehouse. So they'll be doing checks from time to time to see how the whisky is coming along in their journey. When they think that something should be ready on paper, they'll then do a wee sampling to see if it aligns with their thinking, and then it goes on to the tasting panel. The tasting panel is made up of people who work for the Society, ex-employees, and also other people in the industry. We have a chair for each session, and they will gather their notes individually as they explore the drams. Then they will collect all the information and their scorings of the drams, and the head will then gather the tasting notes, and he'll come up with a weird and wonderful name for the whiskey and also very colourful descriptions as well.
So these whiskies that we're tasting today have been through that pre-selection process by the panel.
Absolutely, yeah. 6 casks for you to try. 2 bourbon casks. We have 2 sherry casks of 2 different types of sherry, and we have 2 lightly peated casks.
What have we got here?
This is a 12-year-old Speyside cask, first fill bourbon barrel. Other whiskies we're going to try, that there's a bit more to them in terms of what process they've been through, or the casks, whatever. This one is a bit more straightforward, but that does not mean that it's not going to be fantastic.
Here we go. I think it's about time we give it a try.
Do we say cheers?
Well, slang de bar.
That's what we
Cheers.
think as well.
It's about time.
I know. So we're going to nose it first. So I'd expect this to be quite a light to medium body spirit. Also, I mean, it's got a nice wee colour to it as well.
Yeah.
Remember, this is all completely natural. I mean, we're talking about just 1 cask of whiskey here. So this is about as pure as it gets. So what are you getting on the nose here?
We're talking about the cask and the fact that there's clearly been a fair bit of cask influence on this dram.
And that's probably because of the first fill.
Exactly. It's not overwhelming. There's still some delicate grassiness. Pear, I would say, would be jumping out straight away.
I get a wee bit of exotic fruit, maybe a little bit of banana.
And what's the ABV on this one?
61%.
I think there's a lot of people who would be surprised by that ABV. Let's have a taste. Wonderfully mouth coating, still very fresh.
Buttery.
Yeah, there's a slight there's a
still got
slight
the
oil,
mouthfeel,
there's a
yeah.
slight oiliness to it. So I think I'm just going to add a little bit of water to it. I'm going to take your lead. This opens up fantastically with just a tiny little bit of water. I think you can drink it without, but that's opened it up
I
wonderfully.
think delicious is the way to summarise it, really.
Yeah. Should we have the next dram?
Let's go for it.
So now we're on to dram number 2. What have we got here?
Yeah, so we're moving from the Speyside slightly east into the Highland region near Aberdeen. This is also a first fill bourbon cask, and it's a slightly bigger cask, so it's a hogshead. Best to just dive straight in and see what we get.
Well, the great thing about Society bottlings is they often subvert expectations as well. So I'm very interested to see which side of this particular distillery we're going to be tasting today.
One of a kind cask, yeah.
Here we go. Cheers.
I'm getting a wee bit of salted popcorn.
Yeah.
But it's sweet as well.
Yeah, and I think I'd usually expect to find a little bit of cereal character in this particular distillery as well. So I think that could be definitely presenting in that way. This smells like another delicious one, and I'm afraid I'm going to have a sip.
Let's go for it. It's quite complex, that, actually.
The sort of more delicate citrus notes that are on the nose aren't immediately as apparent on the palate. I think I'm definitely getting those heavier characteristics that you were mentioning, the toffee.
Yeah, almost like burnt caramelized toffee.
Perhaps a little bit of cantaloupe in there.
Yep, exactly.
This is drinking incredibly well without water. Do you know what the ABV is on this one?
Not quite as far as the last one. It's 51.6%.
Still very respectable though.
It's still, yeah, I know. It's very Moorish.
So far we're 2 for 2. I mean, this is going to be a very difficult job if all of these samples keep being this good, which I think they might be.
So what you're saying is willing to do one more?
Well, I don't know. I think I still want to taste them all. So what is it that we're looking here for whiskey number 3?
We're staying in the Highland region. This cask is 10 years old. It spent the first 6 years of its life in a first fill bourbon cask and then 4 years in an ex-Oloroso cask.
Very nice.
As you can see by the colour, I'm expecting something pretty punchy here. And Oloroso is a typically dry style of sherry. Very, very popular. Very well known in the whiskey industry. And
I understand, because I've watched your fantastic sherry documentary film on the SMWS YouTube channel, I understand that you work directly with the bodegas and the cooperages in Jerez, right?
Absolutely right. Yeah, we have a really good relationship with many bodegas and cooperages in Jerez. The quality of these casks are sensational. And quite often, when you talk about a real sherry bomb, these are what we're getting, you know, like really, really active casks.
I definitely need to jump into this, so let's have a nose.
So
I think this might have been in a sherry cask. Definitely sort of dried orange peel, delicate clove notes.
The orange peel is bang on, absolutely.
There's sort of the raisin notes that you would usually expect to find from this style.
It's even got an orangey brown hue to it.
Yeah, that's a beautiful, even a copper colour.
Exactly. This distillery has it's a slow and steady distillation process. So I'm expecting something deep and rich. We've definitely stepped up a level here, haven't we? Dark fruits, blackberry, cherries, and it is punchy, but when it comes to adding water, I'm not diving towards the pipette right away. Like,
and remind me, what was the ABV here?
60.2.
Okay, yeah, so again, I wouldn't be diving for the pipette either.
No, surprisingly easy drinking. It's got such a long finish on it. I don't even need to have another sip. I can still tasting all these wonderful sweet qualities from it. But I will have another sip. The last cask we had was Oloroso. This is a very different style of sherry. This is PX. It's the only style of sherry that is truly sweet.
I think it's great to see more whiskies aged in PX casks sort of becoming more prevalent in the Scotch whisky space. Because, of course, when you look back through history, a lot of the sherry casks that we used were cream sherries, so they had a high proportion of PX
Yep.
in them. They were sweet. They were sweet.
Yeah, this distillery is known for a heavier character as well, which is, again, something which is probably perfect for a sherry cask. They do a lot of things really fast in terms of the process of distillation. They have a very short fermentation, and they have a rapid boiling, which can cause a kind of singed character, which might sound, there's a lot of things that you talk about in whiskey that might sound unpleasant, but people get quite excited about that because later on that's what brings the more full-on, character-full flavours to the whiskey.
What's really jumping out to me straight away here are sort of these sort of dried petal notes, sort of dried flower notes. I think people, again, are sort of a bit like we were talking about grassy earlier. Sometimes people can be a little bit hesitant to talk about floral notes in whiskey.
Yep.
But for me, that's floral notes drive a lot of the complexity in elegant whiskies.
Oh,
and it's Turkish delight is what I've written down here so far. So just a little touch of that. Let's dive in.
Quite different on the nose to the palate. It's definitely still floral. Parma violets.
Yeah, a little bit of that. But I think that's another tasting note that people sometimes are scared of getting too close to. But in the right proportions, like in this whiskey, it can be absolutely delicious. This is definitely in sort of Black Forest Gatto territory.
100% nailed it.
There's definitely some of those black tea tannins that we had from the other sherry cask as well. But I would say they're more muted on this one and definitely being balanced out by that sweetness.
Yeah.
So the ABV on this one's 60.1?
60.1, correct.
Yet again, more proof that sort of well-distilled spirit that has been put into good casks and aged in the right environment.
Absolutely.
Actually, the ABV isn't the whole story. You can get whiskies at 45 or 48% that present very hot, and then you get whiskies like this at high ABV that are, very, very drinkable. The water opens this one brilliantly. I definitely think this one takes the water well.
So how's this doing on the leaderboard? Without giving it away too much,
this is tough. I think I'm inching towards this one being slightly more complex than the Oloroso cask. While I think the Oloroso cask we had before is maybe more of an all-round crowd pleaser, I think out of the two sherry casks, I think I'm maybe inching towards this one.
If you were going to spend a bit more time with the whiskey,
yeah. It's
nice.
We always want to subvert expectations with these whiskies.
A whiskey for every occasion.
Exactly. Okay, so we're on to whiskey number 5 now. So we're nearly there.
It's 9 years old. This distillery, or the spirit from this distillery, is known for having a bit of an oily character, which is quite common with your West Coast whiskies and very popular as well. And that's what they say creates this oily, rugged spirit. And so this dram is first fill bourbon and it's lightly peated. So I think we should.
Okay, and first fill bourbon for its entire maturation period of 9 years.
9 years, correct.
Okay, well, let's have a nose.
Let's do it.
Sanjavar.
That was a wee nod of appreciation already.
Oh yeah, a little bit of what I call the fisherman's friend. If you know the fisherman's friend lozenges.
Absolutely, yeah.
Straight away, I feel like I'm standing in the mash house.
When we're talking about peat or sherry, sometimes if it's too full on, you're missing the quality of the spirit. So that's why I really like lightly peated, because you can still get all the lovely cereal qualities from this whiskey.
Yeah. There's definitely sort of like dried lime here as well. Oh. I don't think I can wait any longer. I need to have a taste.
Let's dive in.
I mean, that is a testament to the whiskey makers at this distillery. Highest ABV we've had so far, I think, right?
What is it, 62.4?
62.4. And I think you could quite happily drink that without
move the water away.
Yeah, that doesn't need it.
I agree.
It's a really delicate sort of ashiness, actually. It's not
quite clean.
Yeah, and is this the youngest whiskey that we've tried so far as well?
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is just yet again more proof that age isn't everything. So this is bringing out for me some melon notes for sure.
A little bit of grassy notes, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I think the smoke kind of mellows a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is a fantastic example of when peat can add to complexity without dominating the spirit style.
Without overpowering it, yeah.
This is my kind of whiskey. Obviously, I have no favourite children when it comes to distilleries, but this is special. Okay, whiskey number 6.
Yes.
What are we looking at?
Still in the Highland region, although the Southern Highlands, you probably can't get too much more further south in the Highland region. This is a distillery that we see a lot of at the Society, and we love it. We have different codes for this distillery because they produce 11 different types of distillate. So they're kind of like the Willy Wonka of the whiskey world. And this one is 122, and it is also lightly peated. This one's a wee bit different because it's been through a straight neck still. It's a hybrid still, so it has cooling plates in it which can be adjusted So they're always just tweaking wee things here, but what you get is a lovely, sweet, light spirit.
Let's see how it presents on the nose.
And, well, it's a lovely colour. This is quite distinct on the nose. It has been in a refill cask, and then at 3 years old, it's been moved into an HTMC cask.
Oh, okay. I like an acronym.
HTMC, heavy toast, medium char.
Okay, I've never heard it condensed into that acronym before.
It's a custom heat treatment, which we love and we see quite a lot. Toasting is typically with your Spanish oak for sherry cask, so you can imagine the bodega, the flames pouring up, just a flash of
caramelizing
heat.
all those wood sugars.
Exactly. And then charring is something that's more familiar with bourbon casks. You know, it's a much darker, more full-on heat treatment, and then you get the highest level, which is the alligator skin, and it's, you know,
exactly.
Yeah. So we're expecting really lovely, sweet, woody notes. The charring actually filters out some of the more the unwanted flavors, like your sulfury notes.
This is still definitely a peated whiskey. I think you can often categorize peated whiskies into sort of ashy wood smoke, coal smoke, or even moving into petrolic. I would definitely say this is in the sort of coal smoke with a bit of wood smoke. This is absolutely lovely.
Yeah.
I think though, I love this distillery, and this is delicious.
It is.
But if we're purely talking about sort of subverting expectations, complexity, bringing something to the table that's a little bit different, I think this is probably a little bit too close to the sort of usual expected Isla style for me. You know, I can think there'd be other whiskies that people could try that would have similar notes to this, although it is absolutely delicious.
Heavily peated is not for everyone. That's the thing. But people who love it, absolutely love it.
I think I need to say all of these could be bottled today, and I think the members would be very happy.
Can I ask a question?
You can.
Do you have a clear view of what you're going to go for?
I knew you were going to ask me. I think I do.
I can't wait to hear.
I think I have an idea of, you know, all of these drams are wonderful, and I think if you bottled all of them today, your members and our readers would be very happy. But there are three that really stuck out to me as being particularly complex and particularly interesting, and that's what we've got to choose.
Let's hear it then.
So the time has come to reveal which three whiskies I've chosen out of those 6 incredible cask samples that I was tasting with Calum earlier. If you want to taste these whiskies for yourself, don't forget to follow the link in the description to sign up for membership of the Society and pick one of these 3 for yourselves. It won't be an easy decision because I can guarantee all of them taste fantastic. So the first whiskey I chose is from a distillery that's very close to my heart. If you know, you know. I don't know the name though, so let's take a look. Okay, interesting. So this one's called Muddled Menthol. It's from distillery number 19. This one really stuck out to me earlier just for its incredible degree of complexity. So let's taste it again and see if I still agree with myself. So what's really interesting is earlier we were calling out notes sort of that reminded us of toffee and pancakes with syrup and sort of delicate mandarin fruit notes. The delicate citrus notes are all still jumping out to me. I'm still really happy with this choice. It's a distillery that's very close to my heart and one that I'm certain you'll enjoy as well. So the second whiskey I've chosen was the 4th sample that we tasted, and what's really interesting about this one is it is really evocative of sort of dried petal notes. That's really what I'd focused on in my tasting notes here. Okay, so this is interesting. So this one's called a spicy stack of Scotch pancakes. I believe we also called it a Black Forest Gatto in a glass, and it is very reassuring to see here that with water you find dark chocolate cherry brownies. So I think we're all on the same page here. So let's have a taste and see if it still meets expectations. Still smells good. Yeah, this one's still exactly as I remember it. Those sort of dried petal, Turkish delight notes are still jumping out to me. We'd called out that Black Forest Gatto note, and that's still very, very evident on the nose, that kind of Amarena cherry note. I think it's time to have another taste. So again, very much that cherry, raisin, dried flowers, a little bit of violet, a little bit of rose. Absolutely delicious. So I would say that if you are looking for a sherry cask that's a little bit different, this is the one to choose. The final whiskey I've chosen was sample number 5. I think you might have guessed that I was going to pick this one. This is a lightly peated Highland single malt from the west coast of Scotland. So I describe this whiskey as reminding me of Fisherman's Friend lozenges with sort of dried lime notes and some sort of coal smoke in there as well. So let's see what the tasting panel gave it as a name. Okay, so they've called this one Pub Grub Platter Wrapped in Bandages, and that's quite an interesting one because the wrapped in bandages note is definitely a nod to the slightly medicinal first aid kit kind of aroma that you can often find from peated whiskies. Oh yeah, this is definitely immensely complex on the nose. Tasting this again, I realised that, you know, once again we have the proof that a young whiskey can still easily perform and match up against whiskies that are considerably older. Age isn't everything when it comes to Scotch whisky, and I think this dram really is the proof of that. This particular distillery is really at the forefront of the quality of the new wave. Hopefully you've enjoyed following along as I chose 3 whiskies for this special partnership between SMWS and Whisky Magazine. But one question that's left with me is whether you think I chose the right whiskies. So let me know in the comments which whiskies you would have chosen and whether you'll be picking up a bottle for yourselves. Sláinte. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the film. Please leave us a comment and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel.